Welcome to part 18 of our journey, where we explore how self-made millionaires see luck, risk, and hard work shaping their destiny. Was it luck? Self-made millionaires will certainly tell you that wealth accumulation is all about taking financial risk, working hard, being disciplined, and keeping focused. However, about 1 in 8 millionaires believe that luck was very important in explaining their economic success. There is a very interesting relationship between high net worth and what respondents perceive to be luck. Only about 9% of high-income producing non-millionaires, and about 9% of the millionaires with $1 to $2 million net worth, believe that luck accounts for economic success. But among decamillionaires, those with a net worth of $10 million, more than 1 in 5, 22%, believe that luck was very important in accounting for their economic success. 4 in 10 of these decamillionaires felt that luck was important. If luck is the key to becoming wealthy, we should all take up gambling. But the luck that these millionaires are referring to is not the luck of casino patrons and lotto fans. Millionaires are not the gambling industry's best customers. Only 1 millionaire in 4 has set foot in a gambling casino in the past 12 months, and some of this patronage can be accounted for because they were attending trade shows or professional meetings in or near a casino hotel. Almost by definition, wealth builders believe that a different type of luck plays some role in accounting for high economic returns. Those who are most adamant about the role of luck feel that the harder you work, the luckier you become. That statement was written on a questionnaire completed by a respondent who was worth more than $25 million. To him and his fellow millionaires, luck relates to uncontrollable factors like weather, competition, the tightening of credit, changes in consumer income, recessions, and so on. It's worthwhile to contrast the views of self-employed decamillionaires with those of high-income producing attorneys and physicians. Most professionals in these categories discount luck in explaining their success. They believe it was part of a proven track record. They studied hard, received high grades in college, and were accepted to law or medical school. Then they work hard, picked the right specialty, and invested wisely, so they became wealthy. It's almost pro forma. But what about business owners and entrepreneurs? Their success was not nearly as predictable when they started their businesses. Many will say that unexpected things happened in their pursuit of wealth. But these unanticipated events had a positive impact on their balance sheets. Some believe that intuition had a part in the decisions they made, but at the highest levels of wealth, these people believe that luck is an important correlate of becoming very wealthy in America. Luck and risk taking go hand in hand. Risk-taking, not gambling. Ask 1001 high-income producing respondents one simple question. How important is your willingness to take financial risk, given the right return, in explaining your financial success? Table 4 to 3. Taking financial risk versus playing the lottery. Correlates of wealth? Those who answer very important are significantly more likely to have net worths in the multimillions of dollars. See Table 4 to 3. More than 4 in 10, 41%, of the decamillionaires gave very important as their answer. Only about 2 in 10, 21%, of those in the $1 to $2 million net worth category gave the same answer. How about those high-income respondents who were not millionaires? Only 18% attributed their economic success to the financial risk-taking factor. There is a clear and very significant correlation between willingness to take financial risk and net worth. The risk versus reward theory so often touted in the financial press is, once again, validated. Those who attribute their economic success to financial risk-taking are not foolish about how their money is invested, and most consider gambling to be a foolish alternative for their financial resources. In the lottery, for example, winning is a matter of chance, and most wealthy people or those who will likely become wealthy never play the lottery. Most never gamble. The risk-takers are not likely to be gamblers. The millionaires I've interviewed understand probability theory. In essence, they know the odds and the expected payouts. The expected payouts are so very, very small that it's better to burn a few dollars with a match each week than lay money down for the lotto. They know that in most gambling situations, especially the lottery, players have no control over the winning numbers that are selected. They do not know the odds or expected payouts, and the expected payout is less than the price of the lotto ticket. There is nothing one player can do to increase his chances of winning significantly except by buying more lotto tickets. Other less affluent people tell me that it's only $1, $2, or $10 a week, and look at the prize. But what is your expected payout? A $1 lotto ticket with a $1 million payout may be one in several million purchased, so your odds of winning are 1 in several million. Say it is your one ticket against 4,500,000 others. Your chance of winning is 1 in 4.5 million, while your payout is only $1 million. Even that $1 million is what I call funny money, because as the winner, you'll have two choices. Your $1 million may be in annual payouts of $100,000 for 10 years. So in today's current dollars, it's not close to 1 million. Or you can take a lump sum, which is considerably less than $1 million. In essence, the real expected payout of $1 invested in a lotto ticket is a fraction of that dollar. Often it is less than 50 cents. In terms of risk and reward, most lotto games are a consumer ripoff. As shown in Table 4-3, there is a very significant negative correlation between playing the lotto and one's level of wealth. Decamillionaires are the least likely of all net worth categories to have played the lottery within the past 30 days, and non-millionaires had the highest percentage of lotto players for the same period of 30 days. For every decamillionaire who played lotto in the past 30 days, there were nearly 3 non-millionaire players, a ratio of 2.7 to 1. Note that these non-millionaires are high-income producers, earning $100,000 or more annually. Could it be that if they allocated more of their income to genuine investments, they might be in the millionaire category? People counter with, it's only a few bucks a week. It is more than money. It is also time. Assume it takes 10 minutes to purchase a lotto ticket. That figure includes waiting in line and a few minutes for travel time. Assume you make one purchase per week. That translates into 520 minutes per year allocated to an activity that has a near zero probability of winning a big pot of gold. In turn, 520 minutes translates into 8.7 hours per year. The typical millionaire earns the equivalent of approximately $300 per hour. Prorated times 8.7 hours, you can understand his reluctance to stop by the neighborhood convenience shop each week. Those 8.7 hours are allocated to more productive tasks like working, learning a new skill, or socializing with family and friends. Computed in working time, they millionaire's cost is $300 times 8.7 hours, or $2,600 per year. Over 20 years, it amounts to $52,000. If this money was fully invested in Home Depot stock during this same period, it would have translated into multiple millions of dollars. Decamillionaires on average earn the equivalent of nearly $1,000 per hour of work. Their cost in lost work opportunity to play the lotto each week would be $8,700 per year, or $174,000 in 20 years. Imagine if this sum was invested as in the example above. The sum could be an estimated $1 million or more. Self-made millionaires know that the time and money allocated to playing the lottery can be spent on more productive activities. Too many people spend too much of their adult lives playing this game of little chance. Does such long-term loyalty make you a better, more intelligent player? Does it make you a better father or manager? The right advice, a key to reducing risk. One of the strong similarities among the members of the millionaire population is their strength in selecting advisors. This asset includes knowing when they need to consult key advisors, who they are, and how to select them. There is a strong positive correlation between finding good advisors and wealth accumulation, because having good advice reduces the risk involved in financial, career, and even personal decisions. Dr. Hart, Big Brain, N.O. Bucks's call came just 2 days after my article was published in Medical Economics, July 1992. Allow me to paraphrase an excerpt from our conversation. Dr. Hart, I'm wondering when I will be able to retire. How much will I need? I'm 63, earned about $200,000 last year. Dr. Stanley, well, as the equation in the article stated, 1/10 of your age, that's 63, times your annual income of $200,000 equals your expected net worth, or about $1.26 million. But if you are in the top quarter, you need at least twice that number, or about $2.52 million as a threshold. Dr. Hart, I don't have nearly $2.50 million. So when will I be able to retire? Dr. Stanley, that's really up to you. Dr. Hart, well, I had a situation recently. I changed investment managers. For many years I had a well-known asset management firm in Philadelphia manage my pension. They had discretion but mostly invested in stocks of quality companies. Dr. Stanley, I'm familiar with that firm. It's well respected. IT's been around forever. It's conservative in its philosophy. Dr. Hart, well, that's one of the reasons I switched fund managers. Lackluster performance. Dr. Stanley, how is your pension performing today? Dr. Hart, that's one of the reasons for my call. I have a problem. I lost everything. I mean everything. Over $1.50 million. Dr. Stanley, how did that happen? Dr. Hart, it's a long story. Dr. Stanley, I've got all afternoon. Dr. Hart, about 2 years ago I was invited to a seminar. The speaker was touring the country. It said he was a famous asset manager. He had all kinds of performance numbers and charts. The investments he managed did 10 times better than mine. I was very impressed with what he had to say. It seemed that he had a track record of making people wealthy. Dr. Stanley, what types of investments did he plug? Dr. Hart, private partnerships, investments in private companies. Some real estate, some energy, high technology. Dr. Stanley, what did your CPA or your attorney advise you about? These investments? Dr. Hart, I never asked for their opinions. Dr. Stanley, how did you get from $1.50 million before the seminar to ground zero after the seminar? Dr. Hart, I believed what he said. I was impressed with his numbers and disappointed in the performance of my own plan. So I switched managers. The new manager lost every dime. What was I supposed to tell this unfortunate fellow? His question was, when will I be able to retire? The answer is perhaps never. Dr. Hart, do you by chance know someone who can do a better job managing my plan in the future? Dr. Stanley, I don't have a list of top investment advisors, not in your area, not even in my own. But I will tell you what many economically successful people do regarding investment. Advisors. You have an accountant and an attorney? Dr. Hart, yes, but do they know about investing? Dr. Stanley, the next time you ever even think about making changes, ask both your accountant and your lawyer for their views. If they don't feel capable of making such judgments, ask them to refer you to some others in their professions. I also suggested that he find a professional investment advisor who would be part of his investment advisory committee. The other members should include an enlightened accountant and a top attorney. Both his accountant and attorney should be able to judge the variations in quality among an ever-growing population of stockbrokers, asset managers, financial planners, and the like. Accountants often know which of their clients make money investing, and they can ask these clients who their investment advisor is. Millionaires have good advisors. Imagine that Dr. Hart had had an advisory committee intact several years before he called me. If the committee members had accompanied him to that seminar given by Mr. Famous, the so-called asset manager, perhaps Dr. Hart would be able to retire in comfort today. If he had only retained that old conservative asset management firm, his pension would be worth more than $3 million today. Even simpler, Dr. Hart could have screened invitations from investment gurus himself. If you find yourself in the same situation, telephone the guru's office and ask the following question. What percentage of your invitations were sent to attorneys? In Dr. Hart's case, the percentage was likely zero because dishonest marketers of investments and related services have great fear of the legal profession. A multimillionaire once related this to me. They won't rip off attorneys, because attorneys can sue for free. Call the sponsor and ask if you can bring your attorney. His response will give you a clue to his intentions. On the other hand, an investment expert who has high integrity and novel ideas might actually encourage attorneys to attend his presentations, and lawyers are quite often members of multiple informal investment committees for wealthy clients. Most millionaires do not have one investment advisor, they have at least three. More often than not, their CPA and trusted attorney are part of the team, and these advisors help select and screen stockbrokers, financial planners, and insurance agents. There is a built-in system of checks and balances. Stockbrokers feel compelled to give outstanding service to clients who interface with enlightened CPAs and attorneys. Poor service or bad recommendations are more likely to be noticed if multiple influential parties are involved. Also, enlightened professionals often have other clients with ventures that need capital, and some of these may have extraordinary potential for growth. But you will never Discover this unless you patronize the best professionals. Most libraries have a directory of law firms and lawyers. The Martindale-Hubbell Law Directory gives a bio of each attorney. In the long run, it is very beneficial to have a trusted CPA and attorney work with you throughout your adult life. Do it yourself. Patronage decisions concerning financial advisors, a la Dr. Hart, are rare among the self-made millionaire population. The do-it-yourself downfall. Why do people like Dr. Hart work without a net? Why are they do-it-yourselfers when it comes to investing their life savings? The more data I collect about this issue, the clearer it all becomes. Dr. Hart was and still is a scholar. He was a scholar in college and medical school, and his writing and reading habits indicate that he is still a scholar today. In a nutshell, he has a high level of analytical intellect. The data about such people indicate that only a minority use skilled advisors like CPAs and attorneys when making investment and related patronage decisions. As noted before, we use SAT scores as a measurement of analytical intellect. Only about 40% of millionaires with SAT scores of 1400 and over use advisors. Yet more than 60% of those in the 1000 to 1200 range regularly consult with skilled advisors. What's the connection here? Why do some people with very high levels of analytical intellect become do-it-yourself investors? Having high analytical intellect does not necessarily guarantee a high level of practical intelligence, and part of practical intelligence relates to one's ability to make accurate judgments about people. In this regard, I suspect that Dr. Hart's practical intelligence is not very high, and his not alone. He and his group greatly enhanced and nurtured their analytical skills in college and medical school but neglected another component of intelligence. Physicians are the least likely of all high-income occupational groups to report that as part of their overall educational experience they learned how to make accurate judgments about people. There are several other theories that might explain the irony of big brain, no bucks. One was summarized succinctly by a respondent in one of my focus group interviews. Money is boring. Yes, some highly intelligent people feel that way. They are more challenged, more excited about doing heart surgery or solving high-order math problems than counting every dime. Given the choice, they'd rather be in the running for a Nobel Prize than become a decamillionaire. Taking time and energy away from such pursuits in order to work with advisors is just not their cup of tea. But there is another more compelling theory. The analytical test. Results of people like Dr. Hart indicate that is close to genius level. So, perhaps he doesn't need any advisors. Perhaps he thinks he's smarter than any advisor. So why spend time and money dealing with these people? When it comes to investing, some people do think they are, financially speaking, immortal. Being very, very intelligent may have some drawbacks. Most high-income people with average to above average intellect realize they aren't brilliant, but the majority have great, common or practical intelligence. They know their strengths and weaknesses and act accordingly. They never make major investment decisions without first seeking advice from skilled professionals. So here is yet another set of rules taught by self-made millionaires. Never be too proud to seek advice from skilled investment advisors, especially CPAs and tax attorneys. Be more sensitive to the long-term benefits of having high-grade CPAs and attorneys as your advisors then to the short term. Benefits of doing it yourself. If you're not good at judging talent, hire advisors who are. Who gives advice to millionaires? How do you make critical decisions concerning allocation of your financial resources? What type of decision process do you go through when making major changes in your business or career? If you are like the majority of millionaires, you do not make such changes without first consulting your key advisors. In the following pages we'll learn more about who millionaires rely on to give them the best advice. One of the most frequent questions that I am asked concerns sources of advice. People write and call, and the questions are similar. Who is the best source for investment advice? Stockbrokers, financial planners, insurance agents, or marketers of mutual funds? I can often tell that the caller is not a millionaire when he asks that question, because I've learned that these professionals are not the key investment advisors for most millionaires. In fact, there is a direct positive correlation between one's net worth and the use of certified public accountants, attorneys, or tax consultants as investment advisors. Take a representative sample of all high-income earners in America and look at each category of high income, i.e., $100,000 to $199,999, $200,000 to $299,999, and so forth. In each category, ask the members of the sample a simple question. Who do you use for investment and related financial advice? Within each income group, respondents who have higher levels of wealth are likely to indicate that CPAs and attorneys provide them with investment advice. In fact, they are 3 to 5 times more likely to consult with CPAs and attorneys regarding investments than with stockbrokers. Note that I am referring to advice and counsel, not executing stock trades. Also, most millionaires generally don't limit themselves to stocks, bonds, and related investments. They invest heavily in private businesses and real estate. So when people contact me regarding investment and financial advisors, I tell them what millionaires tell me. More than 2/3 of the self-made millionaires in America rely on the advice of CPAs and attorneys. Of course, not all professionals in these two categories offer investment advice, so it does take some searching to find the ideal set of advisors. There is a major difference between using the basic services offered by any professional and taking his investment advice. For example, you may employ a CPA to complete your tax returns, a stockbroker to execute your trades, and an attorney to help you draft a will. These are basic, boilerplate offerings, but a growing number of highly skilled CPAs and attorneys do much more than boilerplate. They provide customized investment advice on areas not just involving securities of public corporations. These professionals can be very valuable advisors concerning the tax implications of many other alternatives, from private investments to industrial real estate. Most millionaires gained their economic status in part from investing in things other than stocks and bonds, but many of these unconventional categories have their own set of risks and opportunities. It often takes intelligent, well-seasoned CPAs and attorneys to sort these things out for the millionaire. What about conventional investment categories like publicly traded stocks? Even here many millionaires view the worlds of advice and execution of trades as being far apart. Take the results of a regional Study I conducted of 185 multimillionaires. Each respondent had a minimum net worth of $5 million, and each was asked 4 questions. 1. Who has provided you with investment advice in the past 12 months? 2. How productive or useful was this advice in helping you attain your investment goals? 3. Who has provided you with any other financial service in the past 12 months? 4. What level of quality did you receive from each of these service providers? Most of the multimillionaires used CPAs, 71%, and attorneys, 67%, as investment advisors during the 12-month period. Prior to being surveyed, see Table 4 to 4. 3 in 4, 75%, rated the investment advice received from CPAs as being very useful in helping them achieve their investment goals, while nearly 4 in 5, 78%, rated the investment advice received from attorneys in the same manner. Nearly 1/2, 46%, received advice from a tax specialist. Of these, 82% indicated the advice was very productive. Table 4 to 4. The patronage habits of multimillionaires, investment advisors and other service providers, N equals 185. Interestingly, only 21% received investment advice from a stockbroker, but most of these multimillionaires, 62%, rated the advice as being very productive, a much greater number than those receiving advice rely on stockbrokers for other services. Nearly 3/4, 72%, rely on stockbrokers to make stock and related transactions. Most multimillionaires also read and rely upon the research reports prepared by stock brokerage firms. One multimillionaire respondent, whom I'll refer to as Alvin, was particularly vocal about how he employs stockbrokers and attorneys, and there were many who echoed his views. Asked how he would advise someone looking for an investment consultant among the ranks of stockbrokers, he replied, I couldn't recommend one. I wouldn't recommend one. I use a stockbroker for the purpose of executing orders. That's it. I don't want them to give me any information. I don't want them to tell me what day it is or what time it is. I want a broker who doesn't give me advice, doesn't give me recommendations, just gives me the service that I want to have. I'm happier when it's done that way. The only service Alvin needs from his brokers is executing trades and supplying him with research reports written by investment analysts and other experts. That's why so many Alvins I have interviewed now, using the internet for investment information as well as for trading. How did Alvin find stockbrokers who act according to his mandate? You don't find a stockbroker who handles it that way. Why train a broker to handle things like that for you? Alvin reads a lot of research reports before making any changes in his investment portfolio, but he often asks his attorney as well as his CPA for their input. In general, Alvin believes in hiring the top attorneys from the top law firms in his geographical area. He finds that this is the fastest and most economically productive way to hire talent. He tends to hire law firms that are the largest, the best, and the most influential, because he believes that the bigger the better, and the best law firms hire the best people. The biggest and best firms are filled with skilled specialists, and Alvin relies on specialists who know a lot about tax-advantaged investments. Can hiring a top law firm be prohibitively expensive? Not. According to Alvin, I've dealt for many years with individual lawyers, one-man firms, or some small law firms, and by and large they tend to charge me the going rate, hundreds an hour, even if they're reading a law book, whereas I go to the biggest firm, and they have specialists in every field, and if I want to know about the offshore deals, they got a guy down there who knows all about offshore deals. I call him the senior partner at a top law firm, and I say, Charlie, I want to talk to somebody about offshore. He says, we got a guy. So I went down, spent a couple of hours with him. So for less than $1,000, Alvin received 3 hours of sound investment advice, and for him, the benefit received from that fee was well worth it. Also as a result, Alvin has fully adopted Rule 20. The tax attorney offshore expert always tells Alvin the same thing. Alvin, invest if you want to, offshore. If you really want to, we'll eventually get you out of jail, even if it takes 20 years. Humor the cold caller. It was one of many calls I received at the university that day. But this one was unique. Caller, USA Today quotes you. Gives the size of the millionaire market in each state, even the number living outside the country. I just want your list of the names and addresses of America's millionaires. Dr. Stanley, I don't have a list. Those numbers are estimates. The figures are generated by a statistical model. You don't think I'm going to count every millionaire one by one, do you? Caller, I want to buy your list. Can I get it on labels? Dr. Stanley, I don't have a list. As I told you, I'm not in the list business. The fellow who called was a cold-calling salesperson who targets millionaires. He markets tax shelters, tax-advantaged concepts. He called me 8 times. During the first 7 conversations, I told him the same story, i.e., I'm not in the list business. During one of these conversations, I suggested that he take a different approach. Dr. Stanley, most wealthy people rely upon the judgments of their accountants and attorneys when evaluating the type of investments you offer. Why not contact CPAs and tax attorneys? If they like your ideas, they may endorse your products. Caller, CPAs. CPAs. They are deal busters. None of them want to take any risks. They won't let their clients do anything out of the ordinary. No guts. Their clients are paying too much tax, and they do nothing. They are deal busters, that's all. Dr. Stanley, well, most CPAs are well versed in the tax codes. Some CPAs even have law degrees and specialize in tax issues. The last thing they want is for their clients to get audited. Caller, as far as I'm concerned, if you're not audited every year, your accountant is not doing his job. You got to be willing to take risks. There are still a lot of gray areas. As you can imagine, this guy and his offering would frighten even seasoned investors. I know he scared me, even though he never attempted to sell me a tax shelter. After his 7th call, I decided that I must take a more aggressive posture. During the 8th call, placed to my home on a Saturday morning, the following conversation transpired. Caller, have you made up your mind? Do you want to become a wealthy man? I want your list and I'll pay big numbers. Dr. Stanley, okay, you win. Let's start with a test list. Then, you can see if it fits your needs. You're based in New York. So, how about New York's millionaires? Caller, I knew it. I knew you had the list. Can we start with New York City? Dr. Stanley, even better, how about Manhattan? Caller, how many millionaires live in the borough of Manhattan? Dr. Stanley, about 33,000. Caller, how much? Dr. Stanley, how about 10 cents a name, including street, addresses and phone numbers? Caller, it's a deal. I need it soon. Dr. Stanley, I can send it overnight. Just give me your Air Express billing number. I'll include an invoice for $3,300. That's 3,000 names at 10 cents each. Caller, it's a done deal, like white on rice. On the Monday following this conversation, I prepared an invoice for $3,300 and placed it in an overnight package. But also included was something else. I enclosed a 2-year-old Manhattan telephone directory, the white pages. The package was received by Mr. Caller the next morning, and as expected, he immediately telephoned my office. He was unhappy. Dr. Stanley, hello, this is Tom Stanley. Caller, this is not a list of at $% millionaires. What the $% hashtag at you? This is a at $% telephone book. I'm not paying you hashtag at $. Dr. Stanley, actually, it is indeed a list of millionaires. About 1 in every 70 people listed are millionaires. The list I sent you is much like yourself. Both you and the list are unrefined. To date, the caller has yet to send me a check for $3,300. He never even returned my telephone directory. In fact, he has never contacted me since he complained about the changing odds. What are the odds that the business venture you're considering will bear fruit? Are you the type of person who will take financial risk given the right return? Perhaps you think you lack the courage to venture, or you believe the odds are too long. Before you question your courage, consider this fact. Most millionaires who take risk do many things to increase the odds of winning, some of which are described in this section. Their own business. Most decamillionaires attribute their wealth to owning and investing in their own, rather than in other people's, businesses, which include the ones listed on the various stock exchanges. The millionaires state that they can control their own businesses, but they can't control or dictate policy to public corporations, let alone determine prices in the stock market. Most will also tell you they believe they are better able to operate a particular type of business than anyone else. The particular type is the key element here. Successful risk-takers are market niches. They do things that others do not do, or, at the very least, they do things in a market area where there are few competitors. It's interesting to contrast those who are self-designated risk-takers with those who attribute their success to other elements. As shown in Table 4 to 5, risk-takers are significantly more likely to rate certain other factors as critical in explaining their economic success. Table 4 to 5. Critical success factors according to self-designated financial risk-takers versus non-risk takers. N equals 1001. Percentage of respondents. 1. Investing in my own business. 52.7. 2. Making wise investments. 56.12. 3. Seeing business opportunities others did not see. 52:10. 4. Finding a profitable market niche. 42:10. For most financial risk takers, the really long odds are involved in investing in other people's businesses. Their philosophy is that the best people to work for are me, myself, and I. Otherwise, they are at the mercy of someone who may not be sensitive to their needs and financial goals. Business owners are the most frequent of all high-income groups to give credit for their success to their willingness to take financial risk. Senior corporate executives are in second place, followed by physicians, and, finally, attorneys. The majority of these risk-taking professionals are self-employed. The right niche. In the 25 years I have studied millionaires, I have discovered that they do a lot to reduce the risk associated with being self-employed. In all the years that I have studied the wealthy, I have rarely found a multimillionaire who tells me, "I just thought it would be a good idea to be self-employed. I just thought that I would like to become an excavation contractor or a wholesaler of fish oil or a sandblasting contractor." Almost all the self-made multimillionaires whom I have interviewed had some experience, some leverage in the vocational area they selected. Many studied the profitability of various types of businesses before making a decision. Financial risk takers are nearly twice as likely to have studied the profitability of different businesses before they took the entrepreneurial plunge than non-risk takers. And they were very likely to have an understanding of the growth and income potentials of different ventures. In essence, risk takers succeed in part because they do a lot of homework before investing. They also seem to have some intuition about the category of business that they would enjoy. Most often it is at least a two-step process. Risk takers first select an industry for which they have some affinity. It's more than money, it's a feeling of belonging. They often begin their careers as employees, and then have some intuition about their affinity for that industry. As a second step, risk takers develop a business concept, affinity, knowledge of the industry, training, experience, and just plain old contacts with potential customers and suppliers are the influential factors. What is the real risk of starting one's own business under these circumstances? It's much less than most people imagine. Moving from being an employee to a self-employed supplier within the same or related industry is much less of a stretch than mastering a vocation and industry that are new to you. It's much easier to succeed if you like the business, industry, and people who are part of your enterprise. Financial risk takers are nearly twice as likely to attribute their financial success to love of their career or business than are risk avoiders. That sixth sense, opportunity. Financial risk takers often have a special sensitivity, and they see business opportunities that others do not see. Time after time when I interview a group of self-made millionaires, a pattern emerges. The respondents with the highest levels of wealth give credit to their ability to recognize opportunities that other people do not appreciate. The so-called risk takers know how to reduce the odds of failure and enhance the probability of succeeding by investing in business categories that others avoid or don't appreciate. Competitors stay away because there is a perceptual barrier. They just don't see the light. A detailed discussion of how millionaires select business opportunities is given in Chapter 5, Vocation, Vocation, Vocation. Countless numbers of successful people can and do see what others can never perceive. Along these lines, consider the note that I recently received from the son of a man who had a great eye for economic opportunities. It was such a keen sense that it countered his bad experiences as a child. My father died last year. I'm sure he would have been glad to fill out your survey. Questionnaire. He never went past the 6th grade. His father and teachers hit him constantly. He went from hell to hell. He built corporation, picture of headquarters enclosed. He helped many in my family build businesses from shops and garages into factories. He saw opportunities people walked past every day. RJR. President. Even if you see great opportunities, it takes courage to capitalize on them. It took courage for a fellow who dropped out of school in the 6th grade to even think that he could build several multimillion-dollar businesses. The actions of his father and teachers were not ego-enhancing, confidence-building experiences, but his vision of opportunities overcame the negative actions of authority figures. In some cases, the instinct for recognizing business opportunities is so strong that it outweighs criticism and other impediments. Such instincts can enhance one's courage and resolve. What if you are the one with the great idea that others don't appreciate? How can you persuade them to follow your lead? Most economically successful people have some ability to sell their ideas to others. It is a hallmark of successful business owners and senior corporate executives, but they also know how to identify people who will most likely be persuaded to follow their lead, people of courage. One of the finest examples of the balance between courage and vision was the strategy Ray Kroc initially employed in selling McDonald's franchises. It was based on finding people with courage. Believe it or not, Mr. Kroc once found it difficult to sell what is today the trophy of franchises. But he had vision. He saw what few others could even before he started selling franchises. Mr. Kroc instructed his secretary to send in all cold-calling sales professionals. Who were these people so intent on selling him everything, from life insurance to Bibles? Mr. Kroc knew that cold callers are people with courage and guts. He assumed that if they had enough courage to sell via cold calls, they certainly had the guts to purchase and operate a McDonald's franchise, and he was correct. An excellent discussion of this. Selling the Sales Professional is detailed in John Love's outstanding book McDonald's, Behind the Arches, Toronto, Bantam Books, 1986. The book is required reading for those who wish to understand the meaning of vision. Fear Reduction 101, Positive Thinking. The most economically successful people in this country have the courage to take economic risk, and often their courage is tested over and over again. What if you mortgaged all your possessions in order to start a business, or gave up your position as partner in a successful law firm to go out on your own, or, as a senior corporate executive, completely changed the firm's product offerings? How do millionaires deal with fears and worries conjured up by these decisions? As shown in Table 4:1, believing in myself is one of the most important techniques they use. These words are similar to the first three words contained in a famous book, the one that holds the all-time record. 4 consecutive weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, The Power of Positive Thinking, by Norman Vincent Peale. It is still in print, although it was originally published in 1952. I recently received a centennial edition of the book, commemorating the birth of Norman Vincent Peale on May the 31st, 1898. His work is still very much alive. The Power of Positive Thinking has sold more than 20 million copies and has influenced many people. Countless sermons, lectures, seminars, motivational speeches, and even therapy sessions have included the principles espoused by Dr. Peel. Dr. Peel often cited principles from the Bible, and many of his special principles have been adopted by a large number of the millionaires in America. His work has a religious orientation, so it is particularly appealing to millionaires who indicate having a strong religious faith. Yet many others, perhaps unknowingly, have adopted at least some of Dr. Peel's principles, whether they have strong religious orientation or not. Dr. Peel's advice is echoed by other successful professionals and writers. For 13 years I was on the marketing department faculty at Georgia State University with Dave Schwartz. Dave wrote the best-selling book The Magic of Thinking Big. More than 3.5 million copies of the book have been sold, along with over 9 million copies of the audio tape. His book outlines the importance of thinking big thoughts in order to accomplish big deeds. See David J. Schwartz, The Magic of Thinking Big, New York, Fireside, 1965. When I asked Dave about his own successes, he told me that he always kept positive thoughts in his mind. He always thought of succeeding and never of failing. You know, Tom, you can think positive or negative. You can only think one thought at a time. It is up to the individual. Do you want to be positive or negative? If I were any more positive, I would be worried about my mental health. Dave exuded optimism. If he had fears or worries, he overwhelmed them with positive thoughts. Dave had much in common with other